Okay, today we're in step 4 of the manifestation process, 5 steps, the manifestation process. Today we're looking at doing the work. And that's one thing I really appreciate about Thomas Troward is he connects doing with being. He connects doing with getting things done. That we are working with spiritual ideas, and there's a tendency to think there's some kind of magic involved, and we just want to get away from that idea using a program like this. So that's what we'll talk about today, and we'll just kind of rehash where we've been here. Step 1 was to form a clear picture of your desire with the understanding that by so doing you impress your desire upon the creative life force. This understanding takes the first step out of the region of fantasy. And so we're talking about visualization. We're talking about using our imagination in a specific way. And a lot of people will stop, a lot of teachers will stop at this place. All you have to do is envision. And so we're going to go a little bit further down the road here. Step 2 is know that you are working with law, with calm expectation of a corresponding result. You know that all necessary conditions will come about in proper order. So envisioning something, visualizing something is a step. It is a step of clarification of a direction you want to go. And again, that can be for a thing, but I would recommend focus more on a way of life, on a state of being that you want to enjoy, rather than if you are experiencing some level of depression or uncertainty about life or whatever, you want to move into a place where you feel good about yourself and about your life. So step 3 is we don't change anything really. We enter our daily routine with the calm assurance that conditions are either present already or will soon present themselves. If you do not see evidence at once, know that the spiritual prototype, which is your desire, is already in existence. So we're kind of laying an unseen foundation. Step 4, which is today's topic, wait until some circumstance pointing in the desired direction begins to show itself. It may be small, but it is the type and not the magnitude of the circumstance that is important. This is the first sprouting of the seed. So a circumstance pointing in the desired direction is probably somehow connected to action, to some course of action. When some opportunity arises, maybe you're on the fence about something, and maybe you'll read something that encourages you, or you'll just feel something that encourages you to move in a certain direction. So take steps in that direction, but don't take the steps until you feel okay with it. And that's not to say that we get rid of all of our doubts first, because sometimes that doesn't happen. We don't get rid of our doubts until we start moving. It's the balancing of the bicycle. You don't balance the bicycle sitting still. Some people can, but I never mastered that one. Never saw the value in it, actually. Why get on a bicycle if you're going to sit still? But it's easier to root out negative feelings while you're moving, while you're actually making decisions and moving forward. So wait until some circumstance pointing in the desired direction begins to show itself. It may be small, but it is the type and not the magnitude of the circumstance that is important. This is the first sprouting of the seed. So many writers inject the element of magic into the subject of manifestation, overlooking the fact that we have all been engaged in the manifestation process from the day we were born. That's maybe one of the most important realizations, maybe the simplest. Maybe we all kind of know that. But as I have said in the beginning and before, you don't invoke the manifestation process. You don't just start it. And that's kind of, I think, where we're led to believe in some of the literature. You've never not been doing it. And that's the whole point. What a program like this does, it makes us aware of how we're doing it. It's not a matter of if we're doing it, it's a matter of how we're doing it. And that's what we want to become aware of. So many thoughts that we have throughout the day mean nothing. They're absolutely just scattered energy that gets nothing done, and we all know what that is. It's just frivolous thinking. And it's very easy to have this happen. It's we were getting ready to come to church this morning. We heard one of those bonks on the sliding glass door, and you know what that is. Our cat knows what it is instantly. Somehow she knows that a bird hit it. And so I started thinking about this bird and, going through what maybe happened to it and all that, but went out there and it was gone, so it must have just learned a lesson and moved on. But it's just funny how, I wasn't thinking about a bird hitting the window, but my mind suddenly went, and I thought, that's interesting how quickly that works. And I know, I've always known that. But you can be thinking about something, which I was thinking about this. I was thinking about being here this morning, and suddenly I was rescuing a bird, that was actually okay. But that's how so much of our thought is, and so many things trigger our thought. And we don't think that it means anything. We don't think that just because my mind went down that road that it means anything. It doesn't mean anything in the long run, but what it does mean is how often is our mind doing that? And how often is it focused on what we would like to see manifest in our life? So it's, as I said, the herding cats thing. It's bringing the mind into focus is quite an ordeal. It's quite an accomplishment to be able to focus on something so long that you can actually stay with it and see it through. And how easy it is. And we don't want to go the other direction either and say every time my mind goes off on some tangent, that's going to destroy some aspect of my good. We don't want to do that either. Because the moment you think that, you put yourself at the mercy of that kind of thinking, which is a negative idea. We add to the problem rather than to the solution. But there's no magic in this. We've been doing it from day one. I don't remember exactly when I started doing it, or you probably don't either, but we're trained to do it in a lot of ways, and that's the other thing is people are training us how to think, how to use our minds. And it's not anything that's necessarily evil. It just happens. We're influenced by the social environment that we're in and encouraged to think certain ways. When you're watching television, every few minutes a commercial comes on, if you have commercial television. And what's the reason for that? What is the purpose for that? It's to get you to think a certain way. It's to get you to think that if you use this toothpaste, you're going to be happy because you're going to have a lot of friends. And they're all going to really love you because you have white teeth and good breath. And so we associate images like that. People are trying to influence all the time. And that's a huge thing. The media is a huge aspect of our life today. It hasn't always been that way. Back when people were sending smoke signals, I doubt if they were sending commercials. They were sending up, we're over here, or we've got a buffalo over here, the herd's over here, whatever, and sending actual messages that meant something. But now we're being bombarded by messages that mean absolutely nothing. The only thing they mean is it's somebody trying to get you to think a certain way. And that's propaganda, basically. So we're subject to that. And it's really nobody's fault, but the reason that we do it is because there are people that study how the imagination works, and how people will respond, how they can trigger the imagination to get people to behave in a certain way. And again, the world of commercials, it's always, everybody's always happy, you know, using this product, our life is working, and you know, we have tons of friends, we're at barbecues and everything's perfect, and it's just, you know, all the stuff that we imagine, there we are, if we use that product. And that's, I'm not criticizing that necessarily, it's just that we need to be aware of how we're being bombarded, and it is constant. You know, we all carry cell phones. Do you ever get commercials on your cell phone? Do you ever get people calling you, trying to influence you in some way? How do they get your number? I don't know, but they sure do. So that's something we always have to be aware of. And the mind is going a lot of directions without even trying often. So we're just trying to bring it into focus, you know, into a place that makes sense to us. When you set a goal, you're really telling yourself to start paying attention to opportunities, even small ones, that will enable you to move closer to that goal. Creating a vision is the practice of creating awareness in the direction you want your life to unfold. Without this awareness, opportunities can and do pass by unnoticed. And I think this is what I would latch on to in the whole arena of goal setting. What is it, and why would we be interested in doing it? You're telling yourself to start paying attention to opportunities. And they pass, they come and go sometimes without our even being aware of it. Little things happen, and we're not thinking about our goals so much as just letting it go by, because so many things happen and we become kind of calloused to all of the things that do. But this is a way to start paying attention. You set a goal and somebody says something, you say, maybe that has something to do with what I want to experience, you know, and or maybe this new person I met. I was out photographing the other morning and met somebody that, a guy that was, travels all over the world, photographing things, wildlife. And it was just interesting, you know, that you meet people like that when your mind is focused in a certain direction. It's otherwise you wouldn't really care. You wouldn't really be interested in what they're doing. But if you have a goal or a picture of yourself, what you want to do, and a person like that shows up, then you stop and talk. You know, you're aware that here's an opportunity. So these kinds of things help you move closer to your goal. And I don't know how, you know, what that would have to do, and I don't want to give anybody the impression that I would be using their relationship to advance some interest of mine. But you know, people don't think that way. When people come together with a common interest, you don't think that way. You think it's great to be around people of like mind. You know, we're here together. We have a thing that binds us, a certain perception of what life is, what the spiritual life is, what the spiritual journey is, that brings us together. That, you know, not everybody would be comfortable coming in here, but it's interesting. We would never meet each other if we were not on this spiritual path. And so that's the whole thing of goal setting, is you develop it's a living reality, but it's in your mind, it's in your thought and your emotion. And that becomes a magnet. It's not necessarily a magnet in the way we think of it, where you would draw a person into your life. You may draw that person into your life anyway, but you wouldn't know what they have to bring if you weren't on a similar page, if you weren't aware of, you know, your particular goal. Does that make sense? I'm rambling on here, but it makes sense to me, but I don't know if it does to you. But anyway, there are times when you make things happen. You're inspired with an idea which you act upon until you bring it to a successful conclusion. There are other times when you're presented with ideas that are beyond your comfort zone. You want to do something, but you don't know how to do it. You're afraid to do it. You're afraid to step out. You may be tempted to rationalize your reluctance to pursue it means that it's not right for you. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. Sometimes we don't know until we go down that road. I've explained to you before that I started out as thinking I would be a musician, and that would be my life. Everybody that knew me at that young age thought the same thing. And so I went down that road a certain way, but it got where I didn't want to even be on that road. And that's also brings up an interesting thing, because we pray for things to happen sometimes that when they don't, we're glad they didn't. You know, we're glad it didn't unfold that way. So because something seems difficult, or something scares you, or something makes you uncomfortable, doesn't mean it's not right, doesn't mean it is right. Sometimes you have to take steps in that direction to discover if it's right or not. You could come to a person like me and say, what do I do? Well, like I have a crystal ball. What I would say is it will reveal itself. Don't be afraid of it. Take a look at it. Go down that road as far as you can, and you may find that whatever feels like a block is not really a block at all. It's a reluctance on your part because maybe you don't think you deserve it. Maybe you think it's too good to be true, or maybe you think that it is good, but you've got reservations about it. So you go down that road far enough to where you know for yourself what it is. And then you learn from that. Next time you're in that situation, you say, I don't know what to do right now, but I will. And I'm open to this or something better. And that's, I think, an important attitude to have. I just think of so many times in my life that I thought I wanted something, or I thought a particular path was right for me, and found out later that it wasn't. And it's just kind of interesting how life unfolds that way, how it shows you eventually. But those things that we are avoiding, it will also keep presenting. Life will also keep presenting those until we actually do them. And when we start doing them, we find that they're not as difficult as we thought they would be. That's interesting also. Maybe you're putting off doing something that it just seems like a big task, and you start doing it, and you start building your energy and getting enthusiastic about it. Something stirred up in you that wasn't there prior to the action. And so that's potential. That's what we are. That's what spiritual potential is. We stir it up through action, and that's doing the work. This could be the very portion of the manifestation process that has been standing at your door knocking. When you take action, one of two things will happen. Either your initial discomfort will begin to dissolve, or you'll find new strength and inspiration, or will become crystal clear that it's time to let go of the idea. So there's no set rule. And that's one of the difficult things about this is, and it's not difficult, it's just to say there's no set rule. I feel reluctant about something that I would like to do. Is that because I don't think I'm good enough? Or I don't have the capacity, I don't have the capability, I can't learn it? Well, just start learning it. Start doing something in that direction. And you may go down a certain point and say, I don't want to do this anyway. This is not what I thought it was. That's what I felt about music. The further I got into the music business, the less I liked it. I just didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I was in touch with a publisher agent that was trying to make me into a country singer. And I'm not a country singer. Some people don't know the difference, I guess, but I'm not that. I had a booking agent that used to stick me in nightclubs that were country nightclubs, and it was a horrific experience for me. But trying to put a round peg in a square hole, is what it amounts to. And sometimes we do that to ourselves. So you go down, but the whole way to me the music business worked, I did not want to have to make myself do something that I really didn't want to do just to sell records or to sell, the music. I would rather do it like I've done it, all my life, write my own stuff and record it in my own way. And if people like it, fine. If they don't, that's okay too. But it's not a pressure. You know, when you start doing something like that for a living, you have to keep upping the ante. You have to keep putting out something that will sell. And that's a lot of pressure. It becomes then supporting the machine rather than the interest. And I got where I couldn't hardly stand to play my guitar and sing anymore. And that was not a good thing, because but it was a good lesson. So much of the reason I was doing it is because when I did it, people seemed to like me. And it's a way of getting accepted. You know, they may not know anything about me, but when they hear me sing, I would think they'll like me. And it's not something I said, you know, consciously. It's just something that happened. And if you do things like that, where you're doing it for that reason, you're saying to yourself, I really don't like myself, so I need everybody else to do it for me. And so I need this thing to do. It's like the monkey and doing the act, you know, and having to improve it all the time. People keep coming back. And we do that kind of thing. That's the self-image. And that's why there's, you know, so much emphasis put on the self-image, is get that self-image to a place where everybody will like it and you'll be successful. You know, that's, get it where it fits in. When I see our youth today, and this was true in the youth that I had also, in the hippie era and all that, where you had to look a certain way to be accepted. Today, well, there's a period where you wear your pants halfway down your rear end, you know, and that's somehow supposed to be okay. And it's judgmental to say that, but you think these kids, and you think kids that were kids when I was young, and maybe when you were young, do you think they're following their deepest who they are? I don't think so. They're trying to fit in. They're trying to look like everybody else. And, you know, their hair's all different colors and all that stuff, and that's okay. I don't, you know, it'll be a phase. I used to wear bell bottoms, and I had a great desire to have Beatle boots and a Beatle haircut. And my father hated anything that had to do with that. And it just, but why is that? We want to fit in, you know, we feel like we want to fit in, and at that particular age, we're very vulnerable, you know, to that, to the society thing. And we don't really lose that. We don't have that as children. Become as a child. That's, I think, what Jesus is saying. Get past that need to fit in. Because you will sell your soul, you'll win the world, but you sell your soul in the meantime. So it's a very important lesson for us to learn on this spiritual path. Because we can fit in, we can learn to fit in, but will we be happy? My sister told me of a young man, 19 years old, who was everybody's friend, I guess, the kid that everybody went to tell their problems, and, you know, he was very popular. Ended up shooting himself, and they had the funeral last week. And she just asked if I had any good advice on how to talk to kids, you know, about something like that. And I don't really have good advice other than, if you're trying to get people to like you because you are lacking something yourself, you've got to heal that. You've got to get to the point where you're okay with that, with yourself. That you don't need to be the go-to guy, you know, the one that everybody talks to and everybody thinks is wonderful. You don't have to be that. But if there's a void in us, and probably all of us have experienced that in some way, and we're trying to fill that by doing something, by adding something on the outside, we'll find that that thing really doesn't service us very well in the long run. And a kid that looks like he's happy as can be, so happy that I trust my deepest secrets with him, he's not really happy. He's not happy at that level I think he is. I think he has something I need or I want. And That's hardly ever true. And it's not, I'm not in any way, what I said to her is, don't judge him, don't condemn him for having made that choice. It's kind of sad that someone at that age would do that. But we have to let them do that. We have to let them go. But we can learn from that and learn how, whatever he was doing wasn't making him happy as he looked. We don't want to wear a facade. We don't want to wear a smile. We don't want to look happy. We want to be happy. We want to be on this planet in the very best shape we can possibly be. So that's, sometimes we are trying to achieve something to build up that part of ourself, that false sense of self. We want the people to come to us and consult with us so we will feel better. But the goal should be, why do I not feel okay anyway by myself? That's the problem with goal setting, is we often set the wrong goal. Someone who has low self-esteem may set a goal for having lots of friends. That doesn't help. It works exactly against us. So that's, if you get in touch with it, get in touch with what you really want, then you'll succeed with this whole type of program. But if you're trying to support some kind of a weakness through attaining a goal, you'll never really attain what you're after. There really are no hard and fast rules concerning the choices you make in the manifestation process. It is a fact that this process is occurring right now. You're steering it with choices that you're making. Develop a keen awareness of your choices, and you'll find your life unfolding in a way that is much more to your liking. I'm talking to an audience that is old enough to know better, so I'm probably talking to the wrong group. You'll need to be about 16 or 17 or so. But so you've all been through this a lot of times, but it's amazing how, we drive down, Patterson, and there's a sign showing retired people dancing, and they're happy. If you just come and live in this place, you'll be one of us, kind of thing. It's happening to us too. And that makes me a little bit, I don't want to say angry, because I don't get angry, but it's a fake image. Somebody's trying to make us think a certain way. If you just go spend $8,000 a month at this place, you'll look just like this couple, happily living happily ever after. All right. Thanks for coming out, and hope to see you again next week, and then hope you stay for the dinner. You never can tell when your life will change. It happens in ways you don't see. You're looking for something you don't really know, something to set your soul free. One day in my life, many years ago, a heavenly vision it came. I saw the great depths of the human soul, and since then I've not been the same. Something spoke to me in a language I knew, shook me down to the core. It stirred in me something ancient yet new. It suddenly opened the door. times I have taken some turns to places I don't understand. But it took everyone to bring me here. I've been led by a soft guiding hand. I'll never forget the day my life changed. The fire, it fell from the sky. All the rewards that have come to me started when I saw that light. Something spoke to me in a language I knew, shook me down to the core. It stirred in me something ancient yet new, suddenly opened a door I didn't even know I was looking for.
You've been watching a talk given by Reverend Doug Bottorff here at Independent Unity in beautiful Grand Junction, Colorado. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us spread our message. If you would like to support us, you can do so by clicking the button in the right-hand corner of the video screen. We greatly appreciate your support. Thanks again for watching.